Hello everyone, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. In the first video we had a look at volumes 1 to 4 of the series called Biblical Hebrew for All, and we introduced those volumes. In this video we are going to introduce you to volume 5, which is basically the end goal of anybody who is studying biblical Hebrew. The volume consists of 400 selected texts from the Hebrew Bible, which are problematic and which can show us a couple of things. First of all, it will show us how a bit of knowledge of the Hebrew language goes a long way in finding out exactly what the Word of God says. Furthermore, it will show us how modern English translations often fall short in two ways. Obviously, there are some incorrect translations. We don't know why these occur. One reason might be that the translators wanted to advance their worldview. And the second thing it will show us is that the English translations do not always show us the full extent of the Hebrew nuances that we find in the Hebrew Bible. Hebrew is part of the Semitic language group of languages, and as an introduction I would like to point out a few ways in which Hebrew differs from Germanic languages like English. First of all, let's look at a Hebrew book, in this case a Hebrew Bible, Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia, and you will find that if you open the book, you are actually at the end of the book. So Hebrew books and the Hebrew Bible are the other way around, in that we go to the back of the book and start paging to the front. So if we do that, we will see here we have the beginning of the Bible. Page a little bit further and we will find the first book of Genesis, and we can read it. The second difference is that in English, for example, and many other languages, the consonants and the vowels are all in one line. Hebrew is different in that most of the vowels are below the consonants. There are a few above and even a few behind the consonant, but mainly we will find them under the consonants. I will show you an example. We have the word melech, which is king, which is a M, a mem, and then below that there are three dots, which is a short E sound. The second consonant is a lamet, and below that another short E, and then we have a final kaf, which is pronounced as a ch and not as a k, and in the kaf we have two dots, which is called a shiwa. It's not really a consonant, so we will talk a vowel. We will talk about the shiwa later. I'm sure you have noticed that I started writing on the right hand side and then moved on to the left, which is a difference in Hebrew uh, as compared to other languages. I just want to show you another word, for example, Yom, well known word, like in Yom Kippur. There is a Yot and then a Vav, and above that there is a vowel, a O sound, and then we have a final mem. If we look at the development of the Hebrew Bible, we tend to think and that Moses was the first person to write the first five books of the Hebrew Bible. We are not very sure about that, but let's take that as the beginning of the Bible. He lived more than 1,000 years before Christ, and a few hundred years before Christ, in other words, about 1,000 years after Moses, the books of the Old Testament that as we know them today were sort of completed, and Ezra was it was in his time that we can say that the developmental stage of the Hebrew Bible had ended. An interesting fact is that at that time there were no vowels. The Bible was written only in consonants. We call it an abjad. It's only another 1,000 years later that two groups of rabbis, one school in Israel and another school in the present Iraq, they added the vowels to the consonants. We call them the Masoretes. So today we call the Bible that we have the Masoretic text. In other words, the text with vowel signs. This is an interesting story, fascinating story. You can read about that in volume 4, chapters 65 to 70. The Masoretes had two goals in mind. First of all, they wanted to standardize the pronunciation of the words, and then they wanted to also get rid of any ambiguities that what could have resulted from a text that only had consonants. Let me show you in practice the problems that we can have with an abjad. For example, if I wrote this English sentence without consonants, without vowels, excuse me, you can see that there is a lot of room for ambiguity. If we added an I between the B and the L, we would get to the girl is blind. But we could also add a O here, and the sentence would then read, the girl is blonde. So that's why the Masoretes knew that it would be very important to add the vowels to the consonantal text. Writing Hebrew is not very difficult, and I would like to end this video by showing you a series of videos on YouTube by Charles Grebe, which I think are excellent. And actually, the very first of his videos is all about the consonants and writing. So I'm going to end this video by showing you a little bit of that. Thank you very much for watching, and stay safe.
Bait is written like this. Now, bait is one of the letters in the Hebrew alphabet that can take a dot. A bit bigger. Let's write it with and without the dot. This dot is known as a dagesh. And it changes the pronunciation. Boy. And without it is a v.